To this week's astrology. Now, the moon is now waxing. We're coming out of last week where the moon was waning. There's an introverted energy to it. There was also a lot going on with Mars and the South Node. Conflict coming up, and even like accidents, things that stir up that fiery energy within. And there's a little bit of that still coming through to this week, but there is a lot that is shifting. This week, so the moon is waxing, which means the mind is a lot more anchored than it was the last 2 weeks. There can also be a sense of like extroversion, of wanting to be out, wanting to be sharing yourself with others, wanting to be exploring the world, even though we're still in Cancer season in sidereal astrology, which is notoriously private. Now, if we were to think about this week under one theme, I would be thinking of the idea of like the obstacle is the way. And that's because we're dealing with a lot of energy around the South Node. Um, and the South Node is a past life karma, our liberation also from this incarnation, our spirituality, but it also stirs up karmic events which can lead to our liberation, but there are also events which can lead to confusion. Now, the other really important thing happening this week is there's a lot of Ganesh energy, the elephant headed god, the remover of obstacles, who actually has a very intimate relationship with the South Node. And Ganesh and that kind of like inner energy, that inner wisdom within us, has the ability to help us navigate what has been coming up from Wednesday last week, but you might also feel on Tuesday this week, to help us not be confused by what's going on around us, but to help us make sense and even use what we see as obstacles as a means for our liberation. And one of the great lessons of Ganesh is like he's the remover of obstacles. Is sometimes we think of obstacles as something outside of us, as kind of these annoying things that happen where we feel like we're at a standstill in our life. We feel like we haven't got the answer of what to do next, or we're even kind of have anxiety or even a sense of depression that comes up that puts us in that energy of like being unsure of how to move forward. And the big lesson with Ganesh is those things are the way. They're not mistakes. When we have those moments of standstill, when we have those moments of being unsure of what we're here to do, when it feels like the body is not doing what we want, that is it. That's what is meant to be happening. And that's where the intelligence lies. So it's something to really consider this week. Now, we're going to start with today's astrology. Now, today we need to remember as well, Mercury is still retrograde, but is about to get a whole lot easier this week. So just a heads up, if you've been kind of struggling with the energy around communication, even conversations with exes or people from your past coming back up, people overhearing things they shouldn't have overheard that you said, that is all going to shift later this week, and things will get a bit easier. Now, today, Venus is going to enter Gemini. Again, this is sidereal astrology, which means she's entering the Gemini constellation. Totally different to tropical Western astrology, which doesn't follow where the constellations are. Now, Venus is in Gemini until the 22nd of August. What this means is Venus deals with the material realm, it deals with relationships, it deals with attraction, and there can almost be a sense of not being sure what you want. Is this like the relationship that I want? Is it not? Do I want to be chasing this goal, or attracting this thing to me? And even getting what you want and just being unsure that that's what you truly want. So just be aware that energy is at play. Now, from she'll be in a part of Gemini called Mrigashira until Friday. And so that means for most of this week, Venus is searching. She's looking. She's trying to understand what she wants. It's not a great time to make decisions around long-term commitment, around even like long-term commitments which are financial, which there's a financial gain attached to, or there's an exchange of energy that happens. And that's just because Mrigashira is this energy of searching. It's always looking at, it's almost this sense of, what if there's something better? And you might find that your mind's doing that. Like, what if this isn't it? What if there is something better? What if there's more? And with the moon will be sitting 3 houses away from Venus today. So you can find it's just important time just to sit with that indecision, to sit with that unknowing. Also, pay attention today to old conflicts and even an inner conflict that is going on around relationships with people, around relationships you have with money and possessions. There's something really ancient that's being worked out between now and Monday. And you can find there's repressed anger that comes up, and that might be part of the reason you're not quite sure about this way forward or how to move forward. The best way to use Venus from now through to Friday is feel those feelings. Like, don't detach from the energy of anger that comes up, from the frustration that comes up. Be very careful with what you express because you might find that you regret it towards the end of the week. Um, and if you're unsure, just wait. Wait and give yourself time. Even write about how you're feeling and what's going on, or find someone that's maybe outside of the situation that you're in to talk about how you're feeling, because speaking can be really important to help work out this Venus energy. Like, what do you really want? Now, the moon today is in Leo, it's in Maga Nakshatra. And so the mind is really idealistic today. It's visionary. And at the same time, it can be really scared of what it feels it has to share, or what it knows is true. And there can be this conflict going on within the mind around what it wants versus what is practical reality. Now, this is a day, Marga is ruled by our forefathers, the Pitris. And so it's a day to really connect to our ancestral lineage and the forefathers that started humanity, not just your direct ancestors, but going all the way back to that common ancestry and connecting to that and feeling into something that is bigger than you, something that is bigger than the ego. Um, it's also a day where you might find with that Venus energy that there's something within you that's dying, something that is ending, something that wants to be released or let go of. It's almost like you are fundamentally transforming and shifting in the process. It can feel for some of us like today is the end of a cycle, particularly in relationships, in how we deal with money, in how we deal with our values. And also, if you've recently lost a loved one or particularly a relative, you can find this as a beautiful day to connect into that energy within you, to find them within you, to speak to them and listen to their wisdom. Now, as we head into Monday, there's still a big focus on relationship. Monday, Tuesday, the moon is going to be in the Falguni nakshatras, so Purva and Uttara Falguni. And it will be sitting with the South Node and Mars. Now, I spoke about the South Node and Mars last week, and that can bring up explosive energy, conflict, accidents, even changing alliances in relationships. And so, if you notice that Wednesday last week, or even all the way back to the beginning of July, from about the 8th of July, there've been some tension going on in, say, your business partnership or in your intimate partnerships. You can find that if that didn't hit ahead on Wednesday last week, that and it's kind of still burning, that it has another peak on Monday, Tuesday. So just again, be really aware that that can come up. Conflict is healthy. It's not something to avoid, but what we want to avoid is hurting ourselves or anyone else in the process of that conflict. We want to use that conflict to clean up our own stuff, not put it or project it onto someone else. So just pay attention what comes up. No, because the South Node is involved, there is a past life link to what's going on. It's old karma that is being settled or rectified, and particularly if there's dealings that are going on in your life around money, exchanges of energy, places where you feel like you're not valuing yourself enough, or places where your values aren't being acknowledged by, particularly in one-on-one situations, partners, business partners, intimate partners. And just know this energy can feel really big on Monday and Tuesday because the moon is sitting with Mars and the South Node. Now, what's really beautiful about all of this is Monday marks Chaturthi, and this is the fourth lunar day after the new moon, and it's a day to worship Ganesh. So it's like the moon is sitting with K2 or the South Node and Mars, which is all about past life energy, conflict and karmic energy from past life being worked out. And Ganesh is intimately related to this. This is the day, Monday, where we're really working with the obstacles that we have carried into this life from past lives. Now, for those of you in on Eastern Standard Time in Australia, this day will go from 3:12 a.m. on Monday to 3:54 a.m. on Tuesday. If you have a mantra practice, or even if you don't, it's a beautiful time to repeat the names of Ganesh, to use a Ganesh mantra, and really call upon that energy of Ganesh to help remove the obstacles that you're facing in your life. Maybe some of that conflict that you just can't work out how to resolve or how to work through. This is available for you on Monday. Um, like I said, Ganesh and the South Node are intimately related to one another. They both hold a level of detachment within them. They both rule spiritual wisdom, and they're both about overcoming obstacles. Like Ganesh is about overcoming the obstacle, and the South Node almost like gives the obstacle. Ganesh can ensure that the energy, that conflicting energy that you're feeling in partnerships, doesn't lead to confusion, but creates greater wisdom that you're able to carry forth in how you partner. Now, on Tuesday, we have a lot of planets changing sign this week. So Mars is going to move into Virgo on Tuesday until the 14th of September. And until the 14th of August, it will be in Uttara Falguni, which means that Mars, although it's entering Virgo, it's very much focused on partnerships, relationships, one-on-one connections, alliances we have with other people. And there can be a really strong drive to find it, to either like find those people, to bring up conflict with those people, to focus our willpower towards the path of partnership. And from Tuesday onwards, while Mars is in Virgo, it really calls for us to be diplomatic. Um, the part of Virgo that it's in, Uttara Falguni, can actually give incredible prosperity through unions, like through you meeting a business partner or an intimate partner or a friend where there's a soul contract with. And you might even find on Tuesday that, or through to the 14th of August, that it's a period of time where you're coming into money that's somehow related to partnership, or there are new values being birthed into partnership, which have that sense of like giving you energy. Now, the moon is sitting 2 houses away from Mars on Tuesday as it enters Virgo, which is makes Tuesday a very prosperous day. It's a great day where things can turn around financially, materially, but particularly those turnarounds will happen through partnership, through something that you own with someone else, through something that you've invested in someone else, through money that gets given to you by a close partner. It's that type of energy. Now, on top of that, on Tuesday, to be quite nice for those of us that have been having a hard Mercury retrograde, Mercury will move back into Pushya Nakshatra, which is an easier part of Cancer. It's been pretty full on since the 18th. It's been in Auspicious Nakshatra, which is the claw of the crab. And as Mercury moves back into Pushya, where it will stay until the 22nd of August, past its retrograde period, things are about to get easier. If there's been a lot of tension around communication, um, like hearing gossip, you being unable to avoid being kind of like a little bit passive aggressive with your words, finding it hard to just be nice, um, like almost like, yeah, like the poisons of the mind really leaking through to the voice. That's our Shleisha, and that energy will be drawing to a close on Tuesday. Just, it's like from Tuesday until the 11th of August, which will be the Mercury retrograde period, things get a whole lot more nurturing, more spiritual, and it's almost like you're going to get the lessons from that difficult first period of Mercury retrograde. And when I say get the lessons, I mean you're going to get the wisdom from what you've been through. It will come in easier. Um there can just be a lot less tension and a sense of inner inspiration, expansion, opening, even like thinking about traveling or what you want to learn and study. Though I wouldn't be implementing those things just yet, I'd be thinking about doing that after the 11th of August. But use this period from Tuesday through to the 11th of August while Mercury's retrograde in Pushya to think about what you want to cultivate, particularly when Mercury goes direct, to think about maybe where you want to travel, what you want to learn, what you want to study, what you want to explore. And even if you've been feeling that call towards devotion, that call towards worshipping something bigger than you, this can be a period where you really go within to do that. On the 30th, which is Wednesday, the moon moves again. It's moving into Virgo, into Hasta Nakshatra. And Hasta is the hands. So Wednesday is a day where it can stir up the adrenal system. So just be careful if you um, find that you get easily anxious. Maybe just like lower the caffeine a little bit. Do what you can to really support the body so that the adrenals aren't overwhelming you. Um, be really careful on Wednesday with where you're expecting perfection and it's just not happening, particularly in yourself. Just don't put that pressure on yourself. It's not worth it. Um, and also don't put that pressure on yourself to have everything in order or for everything to make sense. This is a day also not to meddle in communication or in family matters. Hasta tends to like meddling. It's like having inner hands. It's like those inner hands come out and they like to control. And so just notice where you're not fully trusting destiny, where you're not trusting that the universe is inherently good and going to look after you. Because the big lesson of Wednesday is you will almost, well, you can't miss them, but it will be easy to miss the blessings that the universe wants to give you on this day because you're too busy meddling, to open your hands and allow yourself to receive. And part of that receiving the blessings the universe has is not expecting them to look the way you want them to look. This is really about giving up control. On Thursday, 31st, Chiron is going to station retrograde. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. For anyone that's going through perimenopause or menopause, Chiron is going to be your guy. You'll be going through a specific transit with Chiron at this time. And so this can be a time of really turning in, of taking stock of the last 6 to 7 months, what's happened, what you've been processing and working through. For all of us, it's really calling for us to pay attention to our health. Where do we need to give ourselves a little extra health? Where is the body maybe even showing us things we haven't resolved in the mind? It can also be a day where, particularly on Thursday, where old abandonments come up. So, abandonment in relationship and partnership can come up, even if it's actually not the reality of what's going up. There can be old memories that kind of flood the body that want to be resolved. Now, at the same time, the moon is going to be in Chitra, Nakshatra, which means it's moving from Virgo to Libra. So, as much as Chiron is stirring up that well being energy, Chitra is all about creativity and creation. At a collective level, it's about law and truth. You can find that there is some truth that comes about as a part of the collective energy that we're in, something that gets to be seen. But here, the moon loves to produce things. It loves beauty. So it's really a day to surround yourself with beauty, to think about maybe what arts or crafts you might like to engage in. And there can almost be a sense of flow that comes with that. This is also a day where you can receive good, like fruits of good karmas that you've done in previous lives or just in this life. It can feel like you're receiving something special and beautiful and some kind of blessing. And the ultimate of that is just the sense of finding inner peace and love. The watch out for Thursday is just be careful with where you're being really indecisive, where you might be over analyzing a situation or even leaning too hard on others to get their advice. This is a moon where indecision can be natural, but what I would be saying is if you're not sure, wait or ground yourself and really listen to yourself. Now, on Friday, the 1st, it's a really nice day. It's Venus Day. But on top of that, the moon will move into Libra, which is ruled by Venus. It'll be in a nakshatra called Swati. Now, that can make the weather very windy and also internally feel like things are blowing and moving around within you, being dispersed. And it's really going to open up opportunities for new directions, for transformation. It's a moon that moves things, that scatters things. So that can be like the sharing of ideas with other people. It can be the opening to new direction. And it's a day that can bring both healing and destruction, depending on what is needed for you. And remembering destruction can be really positive. It's also a day where you might find yourself traveling, needing to move, or moving. Now, what makes this day so special is it is the Kazemi. So, this will be the meeting of Mercury retrograde and the Sun in Pushya Nakshatra in Cancer. It is going to give us a 1 day break from Mercury retrograde. It's a day to really go within, to really get insight into what Mercury retrograde has been all about. And it can also give a bit of a reprieve from any of the chaos that the mind has been spinning with Mercury. I feel like this can be a day where there's the opportunity to be creative, to be playful, and to really understand that you belong regardless of what's going on around you. At the same time, Venus, who rules this day, is going to be moving out of Mrigashira, which is part of Gemini, and it kind of sits near Orion, into Ardra Nakshatra. And Ardra is a little bit more difficult, but we like it. We're here for it. And Venus will be in Ardra from Friday through to the 12th of August. And so this can be this sense of wanting to rewild in your relationships, not wanting to follow the rules. It can also bring a stormy energy up within you around relationships and partnerships and things you want to say that are going on in that area, where it's almost like you can't hide your true nature. You need to express it. It that said, the storminess might sound like a little bit full on, but I really do feel on Friday it will bring positive results. It can bring healing energy to relationships by saying what you need, by letting someone hear what's going on and even gain. Then we're going to finish on Saturday. The moon will move into Vishaka on the 2nd of August. And Vishaka sits across Libra and Scorpio. And so we're moving out of relationships kind of into an intensity. And Vishaka can bring storms and lightning within us and outside of us. And it's very much a moon where if there's something you've been chasing after, something you've been trying to do, so whether that's like securing a job, making money in some way, a relationship, something to do with the family or the home, like something you've been working for over a long period of time. This is a day where you can see the fruits of that. You can finally start to see that patience and persistence is paying off. That said, the start of this day, actually the whole of this day, although there's that sense of like getting what you deserve, there's also a big focus on fun on Saturday, spending time with children, spending time with your inner child, doing something that brings you enjoyment, that kind of just moves you out of that I have to be productive into life is here for play and enjoyment. Now, the latter half of Saturday can be a little bit intense. Like the morning can be lighter than the evening. The evening can bring up emotions and just an intensity. Again, it can feel like there's something you're shifting or letting go of, or simply feeling within your body that you haven't been. So that's this week's astrology. I will quickly mention next week. Yeah, on the 9th of August, we have a beautiful Capricorn full moon in Shravana Nakshatra, one of my favorite nakshatras. The ritual and reading for that will be live halfway through this week. Added to that, if you want to know how to work with the moon, the lunar subscription, which is basically access to the ritual and reading each month, is open. There are a couple of spaces left, and that will give you a way to see how the moon plays out in your chart with each new and full moon, receive a practice to work with, receive an astrology reading based on your chart, an astrology forecast. I'll put all the details below. I'm wishing you a wonderful week where may the obstacles truly feel as if they are the way.